Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, my new catchphrase is not my job. Rented a VRBO, they asked for 5 stars, so I gave them 5 stars. You will absolutely take over this equipment right now even though you no longer need any of it. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My new catchphrase is not my job. So I got turned down for a promotion recently. I was told that I get distracted too easily and don't focus on my job. I got told that I need to stop trying to run in to be a hero if I ever want to be considered for a promotion. I was told that I need to work as directed. So for context, I have been doing my boss's work for him. When things at work get backed up, I will jump in to get things back in order quickly. My job has fairly specific jobs where we aren't supposed to change positions and we are to work as directed. I have gone to help out those outside of my job repeatedly since being hired. My direct supervisor and manager loves it when I go to help out. Well, that all stopped now. I even had the big boss try to tell me to help out a section that's outside my job description. My new catchphrase is not my job. I had the bosses tell me that I am to do as instructed. I instead go to the union and get paid an extra to work in a different section. This has been the new trend for the past couple months. And today, it all hit ahead. They have only one person in receiving for a 4-man crew. I work outbound. They cannot force me to work receiving based on the contract. Now the bosses are working in there and grievance is being filed. The bosses have stopped working and receiving is completely backed up. I just had my manager come and beg me to help. I told him not my job. I need to remain focused on my job and not try to be a hero. Work has ground to a halt and the steward is demanding triple rate for anyone moved to receiving since management decided to work. Let's see how this goes. Boom. That's the sound of management shooting themselves in the foot. It's like they get up in the morning and try to figure out which toe to shoot off that day. The truth is they refused your promotion because they need you to be the hero and cover everyone else's job. They absolutely want OP to keep doing the work of 2 or 3 people instead of getting promoted into less work. I'd suggest asking for a new position to be created. Just tax specialist on the end of your old job title and ask for a raise of 20 to 40%. If they won't promote you and don't have the flexibility to create a new position for you, then just start looking for a new job. I've never heard of being told not to do extra stuff if you want a promotion. But the distracted too easily sounds like the perfect way for corporate way to spin it. I'm have an exceptional work ethic and love this story. I still maintain my work ethic, but now only on my terms and only when I feel it is worth it and respected. Most managers would describe employees performing as you described yourself as stepping up, not distracted. They obviously did not want to promote you, but chose a really idiotic excuse to justify the action. I would say that this calls for the classic Reddit refrain, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I hope they enjoy their prize. Seriously, why have I seen this in multiple jobs? Employee asks for a raise and someone denies a raise of about $20 per shift and thinks they are a business genius. Doesn't matter, they lose out on hundreds of dollars of free work per shift. Yeah, to be honest, that sounds like most places I have worked. Never in my life have I seen, sorry, you work too hard to be promoted. Good on you. Make them work then. All the best to you. I think you need to read this sub more often. There are plenty of examples of people who were too valuable to be promoted, who began doing exactly their job and nothing more. Left unsaid, if OP wasn't represented by a union, the bosses could have used this compliance to fire OP. Unions are important. Rented a VRBO, they asked for 5 stars, so I gave them 5 stars. I've stayed at some rentals that were amazing, you could tell someone really put effort into the place with the personal touches. I feel like they all tried to earn 5 stars and didn't feel obligated when I left a review for them. The property management company that ran the last rental I stayed at placed a sticker on the fridge so that every time you opened the fridge, you were reminded to leave them a positive review. It included a helpful guide as to how to appropriately rate them. 5 stars said something like, "Nobody is perfect, everyone makes mistakes. There were some issues, but I'd stay here again." Side note, my boss had a very different opinion as to what warrants a 5.0. The place didn't deserve 5 stars. I was going to not leave a review because I didn't want them to leave me a poor review in retaliation. A few days after the visit, the property manager sent me an email, "We're going to leave you a positive review and hope you'll do the same for us." So I left a 5-star review with the following. Company advised 5 stars mean mistakes were made because nobody is perfect. So here is their 5-star review. The nosy neighbors are aggressive. We were conversing on the patio at 6 p.m. when the neighbor, undoubtedly repulsed by the loud laughter, shouted, "Hey." A few minutes later, I received a text message from the property manager notifying us of the complaint and reminding us to behave. I responded with the city's noise ordinance and advised any further conversation would be considered harassment. There was no enjoying the pool on the last day before checking out as the property manager had scheduled lawn maintenance to arrive at 7 a.m. We woke up on the last day to men in the backyard with leaf blowers and lawnmowers. The property is advertised as dog-friendly, but maintenance left the back gate wide open. Fun tip I've learned from 20+ years working with customers and dealing with surveys, reviews, and customer satisfaction: customers will usually scroll right past 5-star reviews, but 3 and below stars are far more likely to actually be read. There are a large number of individuals out there who sort reviews most negative first just because they're disillusioned with paid reviews, shill reviews, and reputation management firms that manipulate review listings to delete or hide unfavorable opinions. If the situation at your rental was bad enough that you think they deserve to be put on blast, and you really want people to read your comments, put it at 3 stars or less. It wouldn't be malicious compliance, but it would be more effective at getting your opinion out in front of the viewers. I ignore all 5 and 1-star reviews on whatever site I'm visiting. 5 stars are bots and 1 stars are people who complain that hot coffee is hot. It makes things more relevant for me personally. I play a fun little game where I click on the profile of the person leaving 1-star reviews. Almost always the only reviews they leave will have 1 star. I never trust a 1-star review, but I do tend to trust 5 stars because I leave 5 stars when I have no complaints. Now go back and change the rating to 1 or 2 stars. And here I was expecting 5 1-star reviews. These are really trivial issues. You went all Karen on the host for a polite reminder about noise. Glad to hear the landscaping is well maintained. Too bad landscapers can't do that with a silent magic wand. And not dog friendly because someone left a gate open? Karen again. You will absolutely take over this equipment right now even though you no longer need any of it. Just a really small malicious compliance that had the intended effect. So this goes back roughly a decade when I was in the Swiss Army. Some of my duties as Chief Sergeant Major were the management of the whole material. We are a militia army and roughly half the days everyone's services are during the RS recruit school. If you go for the rank of a sergeant, a lieutenant or a chief sergeant major, you would do 1 regular RS, then go to school for your rank and then earn your rank on that position during the next RS. Usually in the same school or at least the same weapons school. I had no idea about communications equipment, but that did not matter too much. I'm adaptable. So after a week of preparing for the new recruits and getting to know the officers and non-enlisted officers, the recruits arrive and get the material they need for the whole RS, 21 weeks. They also get the material they keep for as long as they are in service/reserve. The third kind of equipment, the one the platoons need every day out in the field training, they get every morning and return it every evening, as I just didn't have enough of every piece so they could all do everything at the same time. Anyways, Some weeks forward I got trouble with one lieutenant who decides since they, all platoon leaders, were already promoted to their real rank, lieutenant, and we, quartermaster sergeant and myself, only had that in a week, so we were still just sergeants in the function of quartermaster sergeant and chief sergeant major. I am to salute him. I basically replied, yeah lol, that would be funny. He was serious though, so I complied, saluted, and said that I will make sure all the proceedings follow proper order. Now, just a little explanation for the people not familiar with our ranks. Yes, he is higher than me. He is an officer, I am a higher non-enlisted officer. I am however one of the aides of the captain, making sure the whole company has ammo, material, a roof over their head, and all additional duties like guard etc. are filled. He commands his 30 men with the help of 7 sergeants. This is a ratio absolutely unheard of, even in our military, much to the dismay of the captain. Back when our captain was a lieutenant, his platoon had 80 guys and he had 2 sergeants, so every time he saw the officers not achieving any task or failing to prepare stuff, he knew exactly how easy they had it and that they were just a lazy bunch, except Lieutenant Tiny Woman. If you ever read this, you were amazing and had your whole platoon on their A game for 21 weeks. Later that same day, during company meeting, the captain, the officers, the quartermaster sergeant and myself, I made a point of saluting this one officer when entering. This was somewhat noticeable by the whole room since not even the captain wanted a salute from the quartermaster sergeant and me. Which means it was perfect to plant the seed. So after some other topics we discussed the material since I was having some trouble preparing all that was ordered each day in the time frame between the order and the time they wanted to collect it. This is mainly due to it being a lot of bigger radios with serial numbers to check etc. Just as a small side note, this is in basic training and the material is needed for training lessons, they know what they want to instruct weeks before. The captain says it's not unreasonable for me to ask that I have the order 12 hours prior so we can coordinate between the 7 platoons and have everything ready. We means my mat chief and myself, and I got to say, bless this man, he was everything I could even dream of for his position. The captain also decides that the orders were to be written by the officers themselves, not a sergeant. So from then on, usually we got the orders in time. Except from Lieutenant Iohavatos Aliatum. I never enforced the 12 hours as long as we got the order within reasonable time. So this continued for another couple of weeks until there was an inspection by a general. The order this day from this platoon for a whole lot of equipment was not in my drawer midnight the day before. It was also not in my drawer at 2 o'clock when I had to get up again because someone felt it was the right time to come home when his leave was till 2300 hours. It was however in my drawer at 5 o'clock, a whole hour before he wanted the material. This hour would include my mat chief and myself eating something, walking up to the depot, 20-minute walk, and preparing everything this lazy ass ordered. So we went up there, and since the other platoons didn't order anything as they wanted to train some more stuff without any equipment for the inspection, did nothing. I told my mat chief what we were gonna do with this order and told him if anyone gave him shit, he should refer anyone to me, up to the general if it had come to that. So the problem with that lazy lieutenant was that he obviously was still sleeping, as always. One of his sergeants was sent to pick up, the same one that had to make the order since of course lieutenant was also too lazy to write them himself. We tell the sergeant that he will return at 1500 hours since I am giving them the benefit of the doubt in that the order was most likely in my drawer just after I went back to sleep at 2 o'clock, so 3 o'clock. The sergeant tells us he does not need the material then. I answer that I do not care and he is welcome to tell his lieutenant and to tell him that we only make sure the proceedings follow proper order. He presumably does. Someone shows up at 1500 hours, takes all the radios they ordered, sign and check for every single one, then return them immediately, all in all taking an hour and a half of the dumbest work. Next company meeting, the captain tears him a new one for not following any agreed upon procedure, as well as not even digging it out himself since of course he also was not present for that tedious task. Never saluted him again and that suddenly was no longer an issue. Those who demand to be recognized for their rank very rarely do anything to actually deserve it. The way I've always heard it, a lion doesn't have to tell you he's a lion. If you take care of your men, they'll take care of you. If you don't take care of your men, they'll take care of you. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.